Hello my dolly dearies and welcome to another video. Now today it is another collaboration video. Sorry about the delay, the deadline was shifted back a bit, but we are finally here. It is a very beautiful collab where we must create the most beautiful, elegant and ethereal creatures from the forest in of course a pastel colour palette. I am really excited about this one because I love my pastel colours and I love my ethereal and elegant creatures. So should we meet our collaborators for this video? I am joined by the amazing Hudolls, myself, Susika 01, Harley's Dollhouse, Clau Dolls, and Halicrafts. I am really excited to be working with these collaborators on this super cute project. And don't forget, I've now got a Redbubble store, so make sure to go and check that one out, link in the description box below. But without any further ado, let's get on with the video. For our base, we'll be using this beautiful little Twyla, whose face has already been pre-wiped for us. How lovely. I have a brief plan for her, and I'm going to be making a pastel galaxy reindeer.
Did you know that?
Reindeer are the only type of deer where the females grow antlers, so by default she will be a reindeer.
Now you know!
To begin for this doll, we will clip all of her hair close to the head with a pair of sharp scissors, and using a hairdryer, heat up the vinyl head to pop it off the neck peg. Taking a pair of needle nose pliers, I scrape them around the inside of their head to remove all of their hair plugs. This one was particularly icky, to the point I had to put down some silicone on my table so that it would not make it all sticky. I don't get how some doll heads get like that. But with that all removed, we can go to our parts box. Since we are making a deer, she will of course have to have backward jointed legs. I have these old knees, which are from my D&D doll, which I made as more of a statue than a doll, and will work perfectly for her. Because if I can avoid doing backward jointed legs and making them from scratch with popsicle sticks, I will. And for her ears, we've got these old horse ears which came from my Bendy Knee machine doll. I can't remember what his base was, I think it was a Nathan. I'm very bad with Monster High names. But since she's getting new ears, we can of course remove her old ones. I take a scalpel and saw away at them close to her head so that they can be reused on another doll if need be. Now for the leg modifications. Taking a whiteboard pen, I mark the back of her legs where I want them to be sawed off. And with those sawed, we can quickly go and take a drill to it, or a saw, or whatever you want to use. I ended up using one which is plugged into an outlet which I cannot quite reach my workspace. Using a hand drill, I drill a small hole in the top of each of the legs so that I can weave them together with wire. And a big hole down the middle, which here you can see I fill with hot glue before stabbing a wire into to hold the majority of the leg together, before sliding small wires through to weave it all together. And since I want to save on epoxy sculpt because it is a slightly more expensive thing than hot glue, I fill up the majority of the crevice with hot glue. Then taking a pen, I mark out where her antlers will be since I want them to be equal on her forehead. Using 2 sewing pins, I pierce the base holes, and the antlers actually look pretty cute as little dots. Maybe I'll have to do that on another doll. But for this one, I construct a skeleton out of some wire. And taking our epoxy sculpt, we can now begin sculpting. Taking equal parts of A and B, mixing them with gloves on, I mush them together into a pliable state which is 100% mixed through so that it will cure right. I gently press it around the base of the ears that they will sit flush to the head, the armature of the antlers and into the gaps on her legs. With all the epoxy completely firm and dried, it is looking a bit bobbly, lumpy, and not super duper even, especially around the cloven feet which I sculpted from scratch. Now, these need a bit of work, so we can take them to go and be sanded. Taking them to an outside workspace, I will take the Dremel to go away and get all of the knobbly bits off. Just look at the before and after on these horns. With that done all across the body and not being able to record it because I cannot take my camera stand down there, she is looking pretty good. And I prime all of the modifications and smooth parts with a coat of gesso so that my paint will build really nicely on top. And with the gesso dried, it is now time for painting. Now, since we are going for super duper ethereal, everything must have gradients. I mix up a similar purple to Twyla's skin tone and add it to the base of everything before blending it out to a dark purple. And with that all dried, we now must take everything off for her reroot. The thing is with rerouting, when you've put modifications on the head, is due to the squishy nature of the head, they will pop off. So make them removable and only fix them in place once you've done your reroot. To do the reroot, I take my rerouting tool and some beautiful hair in purple and green from the Doll Emporium, go check them out, link in description, and I loop a small hank over my finger, pick it up with my tool and stab it into the head with the guide hole I created. Now the guide holes are optional, but I find it much easier to reroot by making guide holes myself. And do that around all the parting and pre-done holes. Do the parting first and the sides of the head because you'll want those to be thicker. Afterwards, with a smaller rerouting tool and end, use it to do the rest of her head. Looking suitably spidery or like something out of a horror movie, she is pretty good in the terms of hair, nice and thick. And we can pop her into the sock of shame for her face up. With the sock of shame pinned in place, we can give everything a spray because we want steel in her body as well. Taking some pastels, I tried something new, going for some crazy colours for eyeshadow and trying to do a bright yellow and soft pinks for the cheeks. I wanted her to look really gentle and soft, but with crazy colours, because since I want her to be kind of a rainbow pastel galaxy deer. And since she is quite purple, I thought it could be good to add some yellow for her eyes. Building up pastel with brushes, I go and try to equal them out on each side so it looks even and not too dark because of course my spray will darken the pastels. I go back and forth with the pastels trying to get my desired colour and depth. Wanting everything to look okay and the yellow to not look too sickly so it looks like she's got jaundice. Sharpening a purple pencil close to her skin tone, I can begin to sketch out the vague idea of what her eyes should look like. Since the purple is close to her skin tone, it does not really matter if I mess up because it will blend with the rest of the layers even if I can't erase all of it. And oh no.
Emotional damage!
The camera ran out during recording, meaning it lost all of the data for this face-up. I need to remember to put my camera on charge when I am recording, don't I? But adding some super high gloss to her eyes to make them nice and shiny along with her lips, we can remove her from the hair burrito and let those luscious locks hang free. At this point, we can also reattach all of her body modifications. Now, I thought the ears needed a little something extra, so I gave her some earrings. To do this, I took a sewing pin to pierce a hole in the ear and pushed it all the way through. Then, using this hook from a jewellery set, I bent the eye over the end of my pliers so that I could pierce it through the ear and hook some little chains on. And once it had been done like that, I pushed it through the ear. And then with my mass of chains, we can select different colours and different lengths to add 2 different lines of depth. Taking the end of the chain, I just hook it over the side of the loop. And there we are, 2 adorable earrings with chains galore. And those are all attached back into her head. And at this point, we can fill her head with glue to seal everything in. At this point, it also seems right to reunite the head with the body so we can see all of our stunning modifications together. With her hair quickly dipped in boiling water, it is looking less like she stuck a fork into an electrical outlet and a lot more elegant. But of course, we must do her outfit. To do this, I got some very special fabric. This beautiful, shiny, holographic fabric. Now, I have a lot of this because I'm planning to make myself some clothes out of it, but I thought we can donate a small snippet to this course. Now, to start off, we must make her a corset. I make a paper mache corset by just wrapping tinfoil around her and doing a paper mache cast, which can be seen in almost any of my other videos, and then I wrap it in holographic fabric. Looking at my dolls, I'm starting to think I have a bit of an addiction to corsets. But sectioning off separate areas with ribbon from the inside to give it a bit more flexibility makes it look quite nice. And we can end up the back with some white string. It looks quite sweet if I do say so myself. And she's got a fully laced up and fully functional corset. But of course, there's still some more to be done. I of course thought, why not add more to her? More jewellery, more glitter, more glam. To do this, I take some jump rings from my jewellery kit and just slip them over her wrists to serve as bangles. With lots of jingly jangly jewellery and some quick puff sleeves added to her corset, she's looking pretty nice. But of course, she does need something to wear on her bottom because it is not socially acceptable to walk around without underwear on. To do this, I'll be taking some plain cotton and making it a bit more interesting, along with sequins and other glittery things to fund my magpie brain. Using my fabric paints, I will paint a pastel galaxy on her skirt. Because for a pastel galaxy dear, she's not looking very pastel and galaxy. So I mix up a bunch of colours which are glittery in fabric paint for each colour and start gently painting them onto the skirt. Adding more colours, I go with sponges to dab and blend them together. And with some fabric that looks quite like a unicorn threw up on it, we have got something which is perfect. And with a bunch of stars painted on, it's even better. Taking a full circle skirt, which is taken from the Dollightful sundress pattern, linked will be in the description box below, I modify it so that it can work as a skirt, cutting out the pattern from my piece of fabric. Sewing in the waistband, and instead of using a closure, using some embroidery threads that matches the rest of the outfit, it is looking pretty sweet. And paired with the corset, I think it is just perfect. But due to the fact that we painted the fabric, it is quite stiff, so I'll be adding some chains to it to match her earrings. At periodical points, I put a little jump ring in so that I can thread a bunch of jingly jangly chains through them. Opening up the jump rings with a pair of pliers, I take the end of the chain and slip one of the little hoops through the jump ring. Carrying that on around the skirt, we of course are left with this beautiful layered effect. And it holds our skirt down. But adding the chains held it down a bit much, so we're going to be adding a tulle underskirt. I cut out 4 tulle underskirts using the same circle skirt pattern from this thick grey glittery tulle. And not adding any modification to those and simply stretching them over her legs, it serves as a pretty nice underskirt which adds some more poof to the outfit. And with that, she's done! So for the newest addition to my doll collection, meet Selene, our galaxy reindeer. She's just so stunning, isn't she? I really enjoyed making her, and I think she's got some of the best body modifications I've ever done on a doll. Don't forget to go and check out my collaborators, because their dolls are honestly absolutely amazing. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, maybe consider dropping a like, comment, or maybe even subscribing if you're feeling adventurous, or if you're even more, share it with a friend. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of my doll makings, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye!